for Straight on the Point with Jesse T from some undisclosed location somewhere in the world. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Jesse T.
Oh, Lordy, Lord, Lord, Lord. I got nothing in here. Am I there? But I've got nothing there. Okay, thank you very much for adjusting the volumes for me, Mr. Lee, baby, Michael.
It's like almost 100% up.
What do you say?
You know, look, it's all those years in radio. It's the Jesse T Show. Good to be back with you right here on Roundup, Wound Up. Oh, yeah. I got to adjust that camera for Mr. Freilich.
Don't worry about me.
You got it on this side.
Yeah.
Is that my camera? What about that camera over there?
I got it.
Oh, there they are.
Keep your underwear on.
Yes, okay. Yes, absolutely. And we can't forget about, we got to say our thanks to everybody who is loving the show. I'm getting a lot of great feedback from the views and the shares all around and everywhere, on the air and everywhere, from the community to the world. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Periscope, we're on Snapchat. We are in your pants, baby, boys and girls. Yeah. Over 18. Thank you very much.
More on the girls' side.
On the Southern California side of the beautiful United States of America, an absolutely gorgeous day here in Southern California. The beaches are right, the mountains are tight, and I'm looking for some sweet love tonight.
Hey, Jesse.
Yes,
Jesse.
that's right.
Who's the yellow guy over there?
We're going to get to that guy because I don't have a friggin' idea who this guy is. This is guy. Look it. All right, we're going to figure out who this guy is, but first we got to bring on Mr. David Shark Freilich. Whoa!
Oh, in this corner, weighing in at 222, 6'3", sex appeal, nothing but raw rip muscle and sex appeal.
If you say so yourself.
I can feel the microwave better than a HARP system, baby. I feel that microwave right here. HARP from Alaska beaming out trillions of watts to move the clouds. We're going to talk about that. And in the middle here, we'll get to him last because he's an alien. He's an alien. That's what he is.
I think he wants you to pull his finger.
Okay, pull your finger. Thank you very much.
Home.
Hey, we got to bring on the very special guest star we have today because Michelangelo hurt his back. He's not feeling good. So everybody on three, go 1, 2, 3. Oh, Michael.
What were you doing, Michelangelo?
My nose runs for you, brother.
Yes.
My hickeys grow for you, brother.
You know, come on.
Come on.
Gee whiz.
That's right. But we do have to bring on the ever most beautiful and gallant voice of the man who announces everybody here at thepowervoices.com, Mr. Lee, baby, Michael.
Thank you, ladies and germs.
Yes, he's going to be sitting in for us today, our special guest, and we're going to try to figure out putting a camera on him somewhere. I don't know. We'll twist one of these around.
I don't want to be seen.
He doesn't. He's in the underground. That's right.
That's right.
Now we do have to.
Digital. Yeah.
We do got to get to this creature sitting in the middle here. We can't figure him out. Every day he's got something on different. I don't know if he's a legal or an illegal alien. I don't know if he jumped the wall, swam the ocean, or tunneled under the dirt, but I think it's Dan, the man with the master plan.
Yeah. What's up, Dan?
Go sit on a happy face.
Coming to you straight from the sun-kissed oranges out of, what's that place in Florida called where you get all this stuff? Indian something Grove?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Go sit on a happy face. It sort of reminds me of the song of Happy, you know? Happy.
Yeah.
There were actually two Happy songs, the one that was just done a few years ago and the one that was done
Before
by
that.
Bobby McFerrin.
Don't worry.
There were two Happy.
Yeah.
I like that one better, actually. I like Don't Worry, Be Happy. Don't worry, be happy.
Yes,
Okay.
Welcome to the island paradise, man.
Yeah, man.
All right, we're going to jump into it right now because we're running out of time. We want to get right to it. Roundup, Wound Up, where we talk the day's issues, light them up. You want to give us a call? Give us a call at 424-227-9461. I got that number down right, don't I?
Oh, yeah.
Say it again slow.
424-227-9461. 9461. I sound just like an
And
announcer
there
now.
goes the switchboard lighting up now.
Lighten up, baby. That's
Go
right. Give us a
Bees.
call. Also, Facebook.com/bingo. Jesse Torrero. The Power of Voices, straight on the point. YouTube Live, The Power of Voices, and Jesse Torrero, and so many others. Let's get right into it right now. Something that's going on here I do want to talk about real quick, just to touch bases on the Irma story. Of course, the big hurricane that kind of blew west of Florida, Miami, kind of made that right hook and got on the west side, the Gulf side, and they were ready for it. They were ready for it in Florida, and not too many people have succumbed to it. Unbelievable that is, with the 6 or 8 or 10 million people they were evacuating there. And then we had Jose that came in, and it just kind of veered right and did a loop-de-loop out there in the Atlantic Ocean
was
somewhere,
crazy.
and then went somewhere off into the Atlantic Ocean. So, but, we're not at the end of hurricane season yet. In October is when hurricane officially ends, hurricane season. But
October 1st or the 31st?
Sometime in October. I'm not exactly sure.
I thought it was
Yeah, I'm
June
not
and
either.
November.
Correction.
November.
Jose was a hurricane, not a hurricane.
That's right. Jose was a hurricane.
Not to be confused
I wonder if
with
that's-
cocaine.
Or maybe hemorrhoids. Yeah, I don't know.
Hey, Cocaine did the overnight show in New York with me.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Was he up all night?
Absolutely. Never late.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you.
Like, sitting like he's chewing gum with his butt.
Cocaine.
That's pretty
Absolutely.
visual.
Yeah.
Okay, so the damage, we're starting to see all the damage in Florida.
Massive.
And I know Lee has got family in Florida. I know David's got family and friends in Florida. I know one of his best friends, she just flew out today to Florida to try to find her mother.
Actually, to Houston from the last one.
Or from Houston,
Yeah, yeah.
Houston. Okay,
To Houston, yeah.
so I mean, it affects a lot of people. So is the damage just unbelievable? It looks like
It
a war
is.
zone, doesn't it?
It looks
Down south, when it was a Category 4 coming in under the Keys, I think
Mm-hmm.
almost 7 million people lost the power.
yeah.
I think less than 3 dozen people lost their lives, but I think most of them, like 2 dozen, were from the islands before it hit,
Right.
because they didn't have the concrete structures and stuff like that. And it's
Right.
just the storm surge comes, and 180-something mile-an-hour winds coming at you sideways, throwing tree limbs and anything that's
Yeah,
not
the
nailed
debris.
down.
And
I mean-
they dodged the bullet somewhat.
Yeah, it kind of when it shuffled off to the left there and towards the west. But you see these reporters out there standing in this 100+ mile-an-hour wind. I'm looking at them thinking maybe a 2x4 is going to hit him right in the head. Boom!
Right.
Right. That's what I'm
Right.
looking for. Right.
Or
The
a coconut.
2x4 slam or a coconut
Yeah.
slam or
Or
something.
2 coconuts.
Boom, boom, boom.
And in Florida, they make those coconuts big.
And Cuba, too. Dominican
Oh,
Republic,
look at we don't
Haiti.
even talk
Yeah.
about
I used to
them
live
here.
in St. Thomas. They got hit.
They got hit hard. But what about
Yeah, Cuba even.
the Dutch West Indies and the French West
Yeah.
Indies?
Yeah.
They
They were
they share
slaughtered.
that island there.
Yeah.
They're completely decimated. In fact,
Yeah.
the satellite map, they used to be green with jungle. Now they're brown with dirt. The whole Keys and everything is brown.
Wiped out.
Wiped out. So, the damage is there.
How about
and,
Turks and Caicos and stuff?
That's gone too. The whole the whole island structure's gone.
What is it, Barbuda?
Yeah.
I had never heard of that island.
Did you
prior
say
to this.
Babubi?
Barbados or Barbuda?
Barbuda.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not Barbados.
No,
I-
Barbados
I
is
thought the
somewhere
guy
else.
made a mistake on TV when he said it. I said, what is he saying?
Yeah, he's
What?
yeah,
Barbuda.
he was an all-night guy working for you.
Yeah.
That's what.
Yeah, that was Jabbo.
Wow.
Yeah, Jabbo. Yes, I like that.
But
I got a guy calling me right now from Atlanta, and they got a bunch of rain there.
yeah,
They got
Flood.
hurricane or tropical rain, right?
Yeah.
there were people in South Carolina that were actually killed.
Yeah, there
Lost
were.
their life.
Yep. Yeah. I think that the death toll
flooding
is
or-
a
I'm not
lot
sure.
less.
I didn't
It's a
catch.
lot less than they anticipated
Yeah.
it being, but still, people passed away in this.
Yeah.
There were people that had major problems, like seniors in their buildings that they
Yeah.
couldn't evacuate
When the
They-
power's out.
When the power went out.
I think 8 or 10 of those died
Yeah.
They found them
from
in
heat
Florida, yeah.
exposure. And,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. It's
So
bad.
so we wish the best for anybody. Donate, and they're saying don't donate to the Red Cross or anything like that. Go actually find entities there that are working in the field and donate to them. They had a big benefit concert last night.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to see any of it.
I missed it also.
Yeah, but they
Likewise.
raised like $40 million for the cause. So that was absolutely terrific. One performer donated $1 million of, I believe, her own money. I don't know who that is. It'll come to me in a second. But anyhow, just wanted to touch base on that. We're thinking about you over there in Florida, Houston, and we just hope nothing else happens there. Now, we don't need any earthquakes here. That's what we don't need here. No earthquakes, God. No earthquakes.
Another 5.0 today in Mexico.
I know.
Near the same.
Let me bring up something on the heels of what you just said about donating money. A lot of them, if you look and do some research, between 12 and 20-something cents on the dollar makes it to the people that need it. The rest is lost in red tape and shuffling on, $600-something million, $1,000 salaries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
When you go out there, you go to a fire department, a volunteer, some place that can use you. Like, they were turning people away. Red Cross was the last hurricane and Harvey when some guy showed up with 1,000 meals because he wasn't registered with the stamp and approved and so on. So there's people starving that need water and supplies and they're going, nope, can't have it.
Yeah, well, I would just somehow get out to pass out those 1,000 meals on the friggin' corner, whatever.
Right. Cajun Army did that.
I mean, absolutely. Love the Cajun Army, baby. Yes, the rednecks with monster trucks.
Nice.
Oh, man, love that.
The Raging Cajuns, Dwight Lamar.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Hey, we love it. Now, I want to talk about this for a second because there are such things out there, folks. If you don't know, it's called weather manipulation. And the federal government can manipulate weather. Now, if you have ever seen this giant NASA machine, it is giant. It looks like the biggest power plant that you've ever seen in your life sitting. And it's movable. They can move it. It moves very slow. Like when they pull out the space shuttle, it moves very slow. But they can create clouds, real clouds.
Electromagnetic?
No. This machine actually creates so much water vapor. It's got a big exhaust pipe, and the cloud actually comes out of the machine as a cloud, and it rises up into the sky. There's so much of this that this machine can create. It's the noisiest thing you've ever seen in the world or heard, and it just pours out. I mean, just a huge amount of clouds. You would say, man, look at the cloud in the sky. That's how much clouds. And that cloud then travels in the atmosphere, and it's filled full of water, and then it rains somewhere. They can almost manipulate right where it rains.
I'll bet you they can do the opposite, too, and keep it from raining somewhere.
Well, there's a thing called the HARP system.
Hello.
HARP system is 1 trillion. And Lee, you'll like this because with watts and all this, it's 1 trillion watts being shot up into the atmosphere. There's 6 different locations around the planet. The Russians have one, the Chinese have one, we have one. There's one in Europe, and there's one in Australia. And ours is the one up in Alaska, and it shoots trillions of watts from these hundreds of antennas that are 72 feet high, and it heats up the ionosphere, which heats up the atmosphere, and they can shift the clouds in a certain way.
Direct it.
And there is a certain band that they took on this last Hurricane Irma, where the band is absolutely straight. The heat band is absolutely straight through the clouds.
Oops, there goes another kilowatt.
Oops, there goes another kilowatt.
I told you it was electromagnetic.
So, here's the question, guys. Here's the question. 1, do you believe that we can manipulate weather? And 2, do you think they manipulated this weather? Go ahead, Dave.
First of all, I don't want you guys out there in Radio Land that aren't watching our lips move. In case you have hard hearing problems, we're talking about weather manipulation, not genital manipulation. And yes, I believe both of them can be influenced by a certain higher, not necessarily power, but more refined production facility created by man rather than Mother Nature.
They say they created this during the Reagan years. It was the first step of the Star Wars umbrella that he was creating. Lee, what do you think, man?
I think it's possible.
Because sitting under antennas of radio stations that are 50,000 watts, the neighborhood gets affected.
Not only that, all the jocks became sterile.
Well, I guess the Aaron
Brockovich story.
Yeah.
That was a great movie.
Thank God K-Day shot the signal different ways
Yeah,
when I
'cause-
was on the air.
Yeah, well, all my kids were born before my K-Day days. So
Yeah, well,
after that, I was shooting blanks.
Well, maybe that's why Wolfman was such a crazy man.
No, to seriously answer the question real quick, I think that technologically it's possible.
Right.
If they have the capabilities, why do we have droughts? Or
Well,
why
right.
do we have places where they just get blasted with water? You know, we need water here right now in the state of California.
Well, we did.
Well, we still need it.
Well, we got so much
We're
water.
on
They're
the drought
dumping.
now,
They're
but
dumping trillions in the Pacific Ocean because they don't have enough reservoirs. Because
That's
El
the stupid
Stupido
part.
Brown didn't fix all the dams and the canals and the reservoirs
Oh, yeah.
over the last 20 years.
For storage?
Our
Yeah.
state hasn't for storage and capturing
It's
water.
ridiculous.
But they gave all the legal immigrants and sanctuary cities money, and that's a whole nother topic. But you know,
Yeah.
so
Well, why
we're
don't we
dumping
sell it
water.
to somebody that needs it?
Well, why don't we? I don't know.
You know, it's
maybe
some
because they don't
business.
want to. Yeah, Dan.
I used to be a manipulator. I used to be able to look in a girl's eyes and predict whether or not.
Okay.
Well,
What's the name of that
I
tune?
created a lot of weather in a 1971 Ford Pinto. I do know that.
How fun was it in high school fogging the windows
Oh
up?
man, I'd fog the
yeah.
windows up, man. It
Submarine
was,
races.
Oh, absolutely, man.
You
I
actually
saw
got
Van-
laid in a Pinto?
Oh, let me tell you, man. More than once.
I
Really?
saw
Yeah.
Van shaking a whole half hour after the engine was turned off.
So here's the answer to that, in my opinion. One, they can create weather manipulation by heating up the atmosphere. It's proven science. If you do enough homework on it and you look at it, they can do it off this HARP system. They said they turned it off a year ago. They actually came on public record and said, we turned off HARP. Sure. Maybe about 2 years ago. And so they know it's there. We know it's there. And the fact that they turned it off says something right there. We turned it off. Oh, you mean it was actually turned on? Oh, gee.
That slipped out. I said it out loud.
Yes. I mean, oh, really?
They've been doing that for a while. I forget when, in maybe the 60s, they started chemtrail, and now that they have increased the components of the mist that comes out of these airliners that have been gutted with huge stainless steel tanks to barium, aluminum particles, and stuff like that. Which
Silver
is why,
nitrate.
Why you see these magnificent sunsets now that reflect all that particles from the sun being reflected off these little things.
Well, that stuff sprinkles down
Yeah.
to the earth,
It's
sprinkles
cumulative.
down to the plants and the
Yep.
groundwater and the dirt and the oceans and the lakes and pollutes everything.
Fish,
In
the
fact,
farms, the people.
everybody takes
I'm sorry, the
this stuff in.
sheeple?
Yes, absolutely. So, I mean, we got a combination of three things that create weather manipulation. Now, we're never going to know if what the hurricanes are, but I can say this: the hurricanes seem to be getting stronger and stronger and,
And back to
stronger
back.
and back to
Very
back
close
and back to
together.
back. Now, I'm not
And they're
saying
coming out of North Africa.
well, they're coming out of the
heading
Atlantic.
west.
They always come from,
Yeah, they
from
come
Africa,
from the Atlantic.
off the coast of southwest coast
Because of the
Africa.
The
it
hot
has to
wa-
have different barometric pressure, and
Right.
then the cool and the heat, the difference, and then the moisture to suck it up. To
the hot
create-
water of the Gulf
Yeah.
creates the fuel. The cold water creates the
Yeah,
turbine.
Yeah.
As Dean Martin once said, I'm in favor of anything that'll help you get polluted. His real name was Dean Martini. True story.
But boom.
Boom. You know, that's funny that you say that because actually he was drinking apple juice most of the time.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I thought he was really wasted.
No, during the Rat Pack years in Vegas, because they had to do so many shows, they were always doing shows.
Right.
They got wasted after the show all night long. There's a
Right,
funny
right.
story about Frank Sinatra and the Rat Pack. there.
Yeah.
But Dean Martin was actually drinking apple juice because they didn't
Right.
want to get so plastered during the show. That's the
What
funny
are you
story.
eating over there?
I have frozen fruit,
Everybody
papaya,
loves
blueberries,
somebody
strawberries.
sometime.
What?
I'm sorry, go
I
for
don't
it again.
If I had it in my power, I would arrange for every boy to know your charms.
Very good, man. I like that.
Right.
Dan the
Wow.
man. Woo!
Damn.
Yo. Absolutely. Hey, look at. All right. So
And jalapeno lemonade from Trader Joe's, along with that straight cranberry juice. There's one ingredient in these things for $2.49. It's a quart of nothing but, guess what? Squashed cranberries, and it's so tart, but it's so good for your kidney.
Yeah,
So I'm
man.
trying to watch over my
Cranberries
temple.
are real good.
I just had a friend that went in a week ago to emergency room and then ICU, and he's just coming out tomorrow because of COPD, and the doctor's been telling him, stop your poisons. You're polluting your toxic walking waste dump.
Yep. All the mercury, all the stuff that we eat, all the stuff we drink, and just the
Smoke.
stuff. Hey, look at
How many chemicals are in a cigarette?
the largest organism in our bodies,
Yep,
our skin,
your epidermis.
and
yours is showing, bro.
Yeah, man. Thank you. You like it?
As far as I can see.
All right, thanks. I did it for you.
It's true, though.
Yes.
A couple of the people, I think we talked about it last show, died that were doing Goldfinger or something with a James Bond when their skin couldn't breathe. A couple of chicks that were painted gold. And the Blue Man Group, too.
Yeah, well, they
Really?
get
Wizard
sick.
of Oz, the Tin Man, Bolger was supposed to be the Tin Man, the great tap dancer, Ray Bolger, but he got all painted up in that silver and got sick, so sick they had to rush him to the hospital, and they replaced him with the guy that did it. And I apologize. No, it was Buddy Ebsen. Buddy Ebsen, Jed Clampett. Buddy Ebsen got the part to play the Tin Man, and they painted him all up. And Buddy Ebsen was a soft shoe dancer, not hard tapping, but a soft shoe dancer.
Right.
And he got the part after a week of shooting. He got so sick he almost died. That's when they brought in the other guy, and that's the story about that. So that paint.
But they didn't paint him, did they?
They used a different chemical then. But the paint on the skin and the
Like
hands.
a house paint or something.
Yeah, it
You
was.
got to be gold.
It was
I got
filled
some
full
gold.
of. It was filled full of lead. And all kinds. I mean, we're talking 1933.
Lead-based.
We're talking 33.
Yeah.
Okay, so in that respect.
33
Well,
and
that
30.
brings us to 9/11 and talking about
All
toxics and carcinogens and all this. Now, do you think
Yes.
that
Yes.
it was a
Yes.
controlled demolition,
Yes.
or
Yes.
that planes actually crashed?
Both.
Talk to me about that.
It looked like the planes crashed, but they've done so many tests on other buildings. And there was also a third building that mysteriously collapsed from nothing hitting it.
Yep.
That had all the FBI records. And there's been, guys, Google it. You're going to see both sides of the story. I'm not a conspiracy theorist kind of person. But when someone transfers how many $1 trillion out of that, and then no one was there from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. but a certain crew, and the cameras were turned off, and there was no one else allowed to drill holes and rig charges because they heard the boom, boom, boom going off before the building fell, the firemen that were trapped and some of the survivors. But yeah, it looked, because they were airliners that flew into the building up on the 80th floor or whatever, but for it to collapse in and upon itself, it's a controlled demolition.
Yeah.
You see them drop buildings in Vegas like that.
Why would they
But
do
yeah.
that?
Hang on.
Insurance
Let me
money?
see.
Yes, insurance money.
You think it was all just about insurance money?
Did
You know,
see
there were actually
Bush
4
stagger
buildings.
for 8 minutes trying to kids.
There was actually 4
He was
buildings.
inside job.
Building 6 collapsed too. No one talks about it because it was completely gutted. When they went in there before or after the collapse of Building 6, they looked at Building 6 and the whole inside was gutted like you do to a cantaloupe. You know, you tear out the middle and the cantaloupe shell is there. The whole building, inside the building, was completely gutted. The only thing that was holding that building up was an outside structure, and that building happened to hold lots of documents.
Hello.
And it was completely gutted. Lee, what do you think about that, man? I mean, we've had this discussion before.
Well, I believe that it's a strong possibility that it was an inside job. If you look at some of the video, have you noticed that you don't see that on TV anymore?
No.
But right after they were showing it over and over again when it was collapsing, there were what appeared to be explosions.
Oh, you're talking about
Below.
those little cloud pops. Pop,
Yeah,
pop, pop.
yeah. There was lights and
Right.
sparks. And they said, well, that was just the electrical system going off. But it didn't look like that kind of electrical spark. It looked like an explosion. When you're doing a demo on a building, I mean, we've seen it 1,000 times on the news. It looked exactly the same. And because it came down like a pancake, That was just is very suspect.
Now
to me.
you spent a lot of time in New York,
Yes.
in radio and entertainment business and
That's
working.
right.
So you've
and
seen
I
those.
lived 5 blocks from.
You've seen those buildings 100 million times,
Totally.
and you've probably been up them.
I did go up one time.
Yeah, I
But
went up
lived
them
just a few blocks.
in
from
90
it.
in 89 to 93. We went up them every time we went to New York with the groups, and looking at those buildings, they're so huge, Lee. They're so huge. I mean, we're talking 1 acre. Each floor is
Yeah.
43,560 square feet.
Wow.
It's 104 stories.
Yeah.
Okay, just multiply that out. How much square foot there is?
I remember going up to those buildings and standing right up against it and look up, and you would start falling backwards.
Yeah, it was so high.
Yeah.
Almost 1,400 feet high.
That's
Okay.
I've been at the Empire State Building. My dad's from New York.
Right.
Yeah.
And even on that building, in a strong wind, the thing is like
Oh, it has
swaying.
to.
Those buildings were made to move 6 to 8 feet in the wind from the
But
lower
they
Hudson.
were so well constructed.
They were
with
the
s-
best
yeah.
constructed buildings in the world.
And they took a brilliant demolition experts to know where to put the charges to drop it in its own footprint.
Yeah.
But some will say that that's just a bunch of controversy. That's just a bunch of conspiracy. That really didn't happen. That these 19 guys actually hijacked planes that had no pilot licenses. That had. You're a pilot, Lee. You're a pilot.
I
Yeah.
fly.
I come from a flying family. I learned how to country boy fly. That means flying out in the middle of the desert when mom says take the things. When I
Right,
was a
right.
young teenager.
Yeah, same with me.
Same thing. And David flies. And the
Burnside Ott,
and the
Tammy, Tammy,
alien,
down to
the alien
Florida,
here
you
is
guys.
flying all the time, Dan to man.
I took a flight to Frisco once during the summer of love. I swear I'll take a plane next time.
He bought some tennis shoes from some drug dealer, and he's not sure what they're laced with, but he's tripping all day.
The happy face hasn't left his place in quite a number of years.
Let me bring up one more point. Show me any kind of seat, luggage, fuselage, wing, rudder, flap, anything that hit the Pentagon.
Oh, come on, man. Come on. That was a
Well,
757.
what about the hole in the ground in Pennsylvania?
That was a 757 that crashed into the Pentagon at 10
Right.
feet above the ground.
Right.
The guy did a spiral figure eight down going 500 miles an hour with a 757, an amateur pilot.
So where's the
And,
bodies
and then he
luggage
had to go
plane?
over a bump
Ah.
before the Pentagon. 'Cause
Ah.
It's like, and he was able to gyrate this plane down, and he hit it. And
That was a
it-
missile.
That was a missile.
and
Thank
it only
you.
made a hole 6 feet around.
Yeah.
Come on,
And
now.
right in one certain area where
And there were no video cameras that saw it. Nobody saw it.
There
And-
was one video
One.
camera at a
Accidentally.
gas station.
Come on, are you telling me that
wasn't
there's
a plane, though.
We're not talking about Jesse
No.
T's house here.
There was a blur that went by. I mean, if it was a plane, it would have been a much bigger
and-
blur.
But you would have seen how wide are the wings on a
Oh,
plane?
come on.
Right.
Look at you guys are crazy, man.
No, man.
All
That
the
was not a
cameras.
plane.
There must have been 9. Look at the corner
At
of
the
Buena Vista
Pentagon.
and Magnolia in Burbank, California. They must be guarding Torrero's bakery and the Rite Aid store better than they guard the Pentagon because there's like 700 cameras around that corner.
Uh-huh.
Are you telling? No, all the cameras just stopped working.
Ah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Right.
The pictures from
How
that
convenient.
gas station were confiscated.
That was the
Immediately.
one
Yeah.
that would have saw it
course.
because it was
Yeah.
right
And
before.
it was shown on TV. I saw it.
Remember that?
Yes.
And that
Yeah.
bump
But
that's
only
there
like
kind of
twice.
little.
Yeah,
And then-
exactly. And, it disappeared.
And the hole in the ground in the Pennsylvania farm.
Like
Oh, come-
witnesses for Clinton testified.
Look at
testimony.
that
People
hole-
disappear.
that hole-
What's the body count now? 90 something.
93. But that hole is the size of my
missile.
pool. So you tell me how a 757 coming from 30,000 feet, nosediving because cats are fighting the pilots, and it nosedives in the
Yeah.
ground and creates a hole the size of my pool.
Yeah.
But-
Oh,
leaves
I thought you said tool, and I was going to say your appendage.
You have a bandage on it? What?
No, I don't have a bandage. I got an appendage. Yeah, thank you very
Does
much.
it have an elbow in it?
Well, I'll show it to you later if you really
Ralphie
want to
May,
see.
I got that.
Hey, $15.99.
Let's stick to the facts here.
Yeah.
A hole in
Stop
the ground.
Not
hustling.
the facade that the media shows you.
This guy's always hustling for somebody for some money, right?
Always, man.
Gee.
You know, I'm hustling. I'm a hustler, baby. I'm
I
a
see.
player. I'm a player.
$15.99.
That's right. Yesterday was 1643.
It's going
Guys,
up.
do your fact check and check out Pentagon and the other buildings.
But you guys are way behind. I'm sorry. You guys, none of you guys, I think you guys are just psychopath crazy people that took too much LSD in 1960. And I'll tell you why.
Don't get personal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gee.
Wasn't even born at 60.
I was born in 1960.
I kind of remember that, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
Or
okay.
was I?
1980, Coke and Quaaludes and beer. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Or 714.
Yes, that's right.
Eat them like candy at the beach.
Oh, Lord, help me. We're just incriminated all of
Ground
ourselves.
control to Major
Major Tom.
So 9/11.
All right.
What's your thoughts on it?
Okay, check it out. Somehow they were able to make cell phone calls on a plane at 30,000 feet to their loved ones, telling them that the plane was being hijacked in Pennsylvania, Flight 93. And somehow they were able to tell authorities. And somehow the buildings hadn't fallen yet. They hadn't fallen yet. And what?
No, it hadn't fallen, but one had been crashed
into it.
Yeah.
But the text on one of the stewardesses calls to her husband says, I know one of the buildings came down, and it hadn't come down yet. So when the timing, now everybody here has flown on a plane.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever been able to manufacture a cell phone call with our new cell phones from 30,000 feet?
And this is 16 years ago.
Yeah.
16 years ago.
For a brief period of time.
Yeah.
I never have.
When you're flying over a major metropolitan area, I've been able to get a signal. Not successfully making a phone call, but I've tried texting.
Yeah.
They don't go out right away, but when you get to like a major city, it'll go out.
Right.
And you'll get a response, but it's very spotty. Now that's now.
That's not 16 years
16
ago with the
years
flip
ago.
up
How
phones
do you
and the
explain
phones
that?
that used to be back. Well, I'll look at. Here's my theory on this, and we're going to move on to a subject here that's near and dear to my heart
Guys,
after this.
how about some phone calls?
Here's my theory on this.
424-227-9461.
Okay. My theory on this is real simple. I'm going to give the fact that planes crashed into the building. Okay, I'll give that up, but I can argue against that. Okay, but I'm going to say they crashed into the building. The planes that crashed in the building were military Boeing 757s. They were not commercial 757s made by Boeing. The planes that the military has that is an identical plane to the 757, but it's made for the military, has these two pylons underneath the belly of the plane. All those planes that are dark gray that you see up there that look like 757s in the Army and the Navy and the Air Force, they have these pylons, okay?
For fuel?
I don't know what they're for, but they're on all the planes. The pilot, there was a pilot that they did not allow to testify at the 9/11 Commission that said, I flew both of those planes at some point in my career. He flew the plane earlier that crashed into Building 1,
right.
and he flew the plane earlier that crashed into Building 2.
Right.
He actually flew those planes.
Okay.
Not those planes that day, but a month, a year, 2 years before. And because pilots remember all the planes they fly because they got to walk them every single time they fly.
And they remember
Pre-check.
the tail numbers.
They remember the tail numbers, okay? So he said those planes and commercial planes, you can go out to the airport and see, they are slender, they are sleek because they're made to hold people, baggage, and fuel. That's what they're made to hold. So they make them as light and quick as they can because the fuel is expensive.
Aerodynamic.
Okay? But the military planes, they don't care about that. The military planes, they make them for other reasons. Drop bombs, electronics, extra fuel, reinforcement for tanks or whatever. They make them different. Okay. So you see the one picture of the one they play over and over and over. The plane turns like this. Zoom and hits the
Not
building.
the guy from the fire department that looked up.
Yeah, it hits the building, and you see the undercarriage, and it's not an American Airlines slick aluminum, beautiful plane. It's gray and dark. Now check that out. That's number one. So I'm gonna say, okay, planes hit it. Okay, I'll give that. We're not gonna argue that anymore. There's a physicist. Many physicists have said that the fuel that the planes used would not have been able to melt the steel in that building. Okay?
Right.
Now, there's a physicist that says he did the drop rate, gravity. Okay, he said if you tear off 14 floors, that was the floors of the building where the plane hit above. You took off the top 14 floors above the crash.
Right.
Okay, and you put them aside and you dropped them to the ground. It would take 9.2 seconds in a vacuum for it to hit the ground. With the air flow up there, the Hudson, it would take about 10 seconds for the 14 floors to hit the ground. Okay?
From 104 stories.
Yes,
Okay.
same. Just take them off, move them over,
Yeah.
drop them, and take 10 seconds for 14 floors to hit the ground.
Right.
Okay. That plane crashed into there, and the outside skeleton of the World Trade Towers is the outside skeleton. The inside beefy part of the building is inside. 47 core columns were on the outside of every single floor. 47.
All steel reinforced.
240 columns were built around the elevator shafts and on the inside in a confined environment.
Yeah, the core.
That's the core. That's why that building stays. Okay. So if you now take the fall rate, you put the 14 stories back on the building. The physicists did this. And you take the fall rate, just the fall rate, you crash those floors down, they collapse down. It will take 30 seconds to 40 seconds for that collapse to take place. And here's why. Because all of that material would get clogged and congested on those 240 steel structures going up in the middle, which would slow the rate of all that material. And most likely, you would have a big, giant rubble pile a quarter of the way up because it would just pile up. So the other key question is, how do you collapse it to the ground where into that small rubble pile that was really there?
Yeah.
Okay? And what he said, this physicist said, it's so logical. You do the math. He said, because they would have had to blow up, explode from the bottom. They would have had to explode bombs from the bottom, thermite, from the bottom to collapse the steel reinforcements in the elevator shafts of those 240. Cut them in half, basically. William Rodriguez, the last man out of Tower 1, he was the janitor for 20 to 25 years. He worked at the tower. His job was cleaning the elevators and cleaning the staircase all the way up, all the way down for 20 years. This guy must have been like He-Man. I mean, walking, okay? And he said, he was the last man out. He said, when I went to the elevators after the first explosion, which was below me, 9 floors below, okay, because the subway's coming for all the supplies and materials and food and whatever, okay? And so he said he heard explosions on the bottom. He wasn't allowed to testify.
Of course not.
He heard explosions on the bottom, and then he heard them at the top, that plane hitting, and then he heard them right there in the lobby. So he went to the lobby. Another explosion knocked him on his keister, and he went to the elevators, and when he couldn't get the elevators quite open, and when he did, they were collapsed all the way down with dead bodies in the elevator. They were collapsed. The fire department wasn't able to use the elevators. That's why they went up the stairs. There's an emergency elevator that was designed just for EMT. It was totally collapsed. So, this is what happened, in my opinion. The planes hit it. They blew up the thermite. They killed the inside structure. They collapsed the building. And they did that because that building was asbestos heavy. It was over $1 billion to clean the asbestos out of that. Half the building was only leasable. Half the building was vacant for a decade, and building 2 as well. They could not rent them out anymore because of the asbestos, because in 71 and 72, they built buildings with asbestos, so they just left them vacant.
Didn't the second building fall first?
Well, yeah, whatever the building, the number is, whatever the number is. Correct me if I'm wrong. Whatever the number is. And $2.3 trillion, 24 hours before Donald Rumsfeld at the Pentagon said, we can't find $2.3 trillion. That's $16,000 for every person living in America today.
And who owned it?
They can't find it. The military owned it. military-industrial complex that Eisenhower and JFK warned us about, and the corrupt, silent government, shadow government that JFK warned us about in his secret society speech, that he died thereafter.
Wait a minute. You think the 2.3 trillion went to whom?
It's gone.
Well, we know that.
It's never going to be found. I can't tell you who it
Some
went to.
people said it was payoff money for the Afghanistan people and the
Saudis?
It may, in fact, well be, but the Saudis are the most corrupt government on the planet Earth.
Yeah.
Okay, we emplaced them after World War II. We put them in place after World War II. Okay, and we built the oil wells there. J. Paul Getty did all the oil well drilling, and he was a sap for J.P. Morgan and Rockefeller. Okay, so he built all the oil wells there. Here's the point. It wasn't the 2.3 trillion where the money was. It was a 10-year war in Iraq after that. That's where the money went.
Mm-hmm.
I think I know where they hid the money.
Where? Tell us.
Tattoo said, "Deplane, boss."
May in fact so be.
Could very well
So
be.
that's
I like
my
that.
theory. That's my theory on what happened there at 9/11. All for money, power, control,
Of course.
greed, and really, can we do it and get away with it?
So the owners,
Follow the money. Go ahead.
whoever owned the World Trade Complex there.
Silverstein owned Building 7. The Port Authority had jurisdiction over that whole area, and there is a insurance company, hedge fund insurance company that owned both World Trade Tower 1 and World Trade Tower 2.
That increased within the last month before its demise.
Yeah, they increased the
exorbitant
insurance.
amount.
And Building 6 was owned by, I don't know who Building 6 was, but a lot of people forget about Building 6. They don't even talk about Building 6.
Yeah, it's a non-issue.
No. Yeah.
It just fell out of the sky
And that's the thing.
because it
The
was
stuff fell
near
on
or
it,
something.
yeah.
That got
16 years after the fact, there are people that actually have no idea what that's about today.
Yeah.
And what the hell is wrong with our education system? Why is it that Google right now, the top 30 questions on Google right now is, oh, this is insane. I hope I can bring it up. The top 30 questions on Google right now, Google search worldwide.
This is Zuckerberg and all that.
No, this is Google. This is
they're very
Zuckerberg.
in your business too.
Okay.
Don't think they're not.
No, absolutely. But the top 30, I hope I can bring it up.
Wow.
I hope I can bring you. It's going to blow you away because,
Like that are being asked.
that people are searching
Oh.
for answers. Okay, so let me put.
Wow. Dan the man, what do you got to think? What do you got to say? How you feeling?
I'm taking shots to ward off puberty.
To ward off puberty.
Yes.
Why are you taking shots to ward off puberty, Dan the man?
I want to stay forever young.
There is something there behind that. Okay, I'm going to tell you what, Google. Now, you see, what's happened to our education in this country? I mean, Lee, what's happened to our education? What, this Common Core, did that destroy it?
It's not a priority.
Why?
They don't want smart people.
That's right.
Why?
They want to keep them dumb.
Why?
Because too many smart people will interfere and ask too many questions.
So they just want to turn into AI robots, like the Clone Wars and Star Wars.
That would probably be
Pretty much.
more appropriate to the powers that be because they can control them.
George Carlin had a good piece. They want them just smart enough to pull the levers and push the buttons, but not too much for critical thinking.
Right.
Yeah. Because then, wow, wait a
Do
minute.
as you're told to do.
Exactly. Good little sheeple. Don't look this way. Just carry on. Everything's fine.
Is that why we have the Manson follower, Van Heusen, Leslie Van Heusen, get paroled in California? And she killed those people.
Huh?
She brutally butchered them and
La
killed
Biancas.
the Lobiancas. We went up there and did a road trip at one of their up there, the show where they got
Did
actually
you find
killed.
the 30 most
I'm
asked
getting to it right
questions?
now.
Oh.
But you know, in that respect, I mean, California is just screwed up.
Hello. Look who's running it.
Who's running it?
Look at Chicago. Look at every major.
Every major Democratic
There you go.
state,
Yeah.
every major Democratic city gets run into the ground.
And the
Detroit,
one with the strictest gun control
Chicago.
has the most murders by guess what?
Here we
Guns.
go. Detroit was destroyed by a democratic process from
It's still
the
going on.
1960s.
Yeah.
And you can get farther with a kind word and a gun than just a kind word.
According to Google, the top searches according to Google for 2004 through 2017. So this is a 13-year study they did. Google, the top searches. How do you tie a tie? That's number one.
Wow.
How to kiss.
Kiss what?
Kiss my ass. I don't know. How to get pregnant.
That's
Number
hard.
3.
Wow.
Obviously, it's not getting too hard. How to lose weight.
4.
How to draw. How to make money. How to make pancakes.
7.
How to write a cover letter. How to make French toast. How to lose belly fat.
10.
How to write a resume. How to boil eggs. How to boil eggs. What's going on with our education? And people don't know how to do that by the time they're 20, 15 years old? I mean, seriously?
Yeah.
They don't teach them how to balance
How do you
a
gain
check.
weight? Man, 7-Eleven and Circle K at 12 o'clock. That's how you do that. How to get rid of fruit flies. Well, first you got to get rid of the fruits. How to tie a bow tie. Well, the fruits will tell you how to do that. How to make slime. Now this one. Slime. How to love. Wasn't these the things that maybe your mom and dad and your parents were supposed to teach you growing up when you were a kid? How to tie a tie,
That's
how to
what's
boil
wrong
an
with
egg?
this new generation.
Yeah.
It wasn't handed to them. They wasn't taught.
Well,
they
who's
didn't
wearing
learn it.
ties anymore?
A lot of ties are actually coming back. How to save money, how to write a check. Well, forget checks because nobody writes checks anymore, right?
I haven't written one in probably 18 years.
How to get a passport. And this
Good
one
question.
and this one here is how to play poker and get rid of bed bugs. I don't know why those two are together.
Does it come from Nevada?
Maybe so, but so what's happened with our education, even in the house, because this is the kind of stuff you just learned growing up as a kid.
Yeah.
So how do we solve that? First off, we get rid of Common Core.
Well, you got to get back to some basics.
Yeah, but what are the basics?
More one-on-one communication with your children. I mean, how to boil an egg. I mean, I was doing that when I was a youngster. 3 minutes and you're done.
I was 8 and in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I was cooking for myself.
I wasn't a
No,
good
seriously,
cook.
I got 8 in the kitchen
I didn't learn any
You
of
got
that.
8?
before I was 11.
I didn't learn any of that. It took me an hour to cook minute rice.
I hope it was at real low heat.
Yeah.
Real low. Like a match.
Guys, what's going on with this country, with this world, with this planet, with the people that are writing, changing history, and now that all these statues have been taken down, are you feeling better? What has changed in your life? 0. You guys are still hooked on this for your workout, your education. You're talking to the person across the table on your date or your family member on a phone.
Yeah.
Rather than to their face.
Well,
That's
here
true.
it is. I got the answer. 56 million people have already turned away from network and cable TV. Or the
Good.
tie to TV.
Good.
Okay? What they've turned to is this. The
Yep.
smart, the iPad,
It's going everywhere.
the notebook.
We live for right now. We
56
want
million people.
Information right now, and that's what that thing gives you
Inst-
access to.
And this has
Whether the
created all of our
information is
evil.
credible or not is irrelevant.
Well, you don't know what's credible on here or what's
You
not
don't.
credible when you look at it. And when
No.
you when you're 14 years old, or you're 12, or you're
Yeah.
9, or you're 29, because your brain isn't completely completed. For men, it takes about 26 to 29 for that front lobe to get completely grown out. Women happens earlier, but nobody knows what's true and what's not true anymore. Fake news,
What?
CNN, Fox, they all have an agenda.
And everything that you look at on this phone is being looked at by at least 4 other entities.
Absolutely.
They have toasters, refrigerators, dishwashers that listen to your conversation. They want you to rat out someone at your family. Look at everything that you're doing in the front and behind it. Don't think it's not true. It's proven. And the app that you go for Messenger, do some research. You're signing off 6 pages of your passcodes, your videos, your emails, your text, your voice, anything that you say, Google, search, look at, talk about, is all going to another source.
And that bridges to accountability. Hillary Clinton, shut up and go home. I mean, 40 excuses now? You just were a terrible candidate. No one liked you. The electoral didn't vote for you. You lost. Go home and just shut up. Okay? Every time I turn around, she's blaming somebody else for her problems. You know, accept the responsibility.
Off another eyewitness that was going to testify.
Yeah, well, that too.
The word of the day is nacho.
Why is a progressive left? Now, there's a difference between liberals, a liberal understanding, and a progressive left. Progressive left are so friggin' violent. Why are they so violent? Why are they so mean? David, tell me why the progressive left is so mean. Now, I'm not talking about liberals because there's a difference. The progressive right or the far right are just as much as violent. Why are we at a society where we treasure extremes like that?
Because that's the way people think. Some people.
They don't think for themselves.
No.
They follow what other people tell them to do.
I talked about that this morning on my show.
I mean, Americans used to meet somewhere down the middle on stuff. We would, you were liberal, you were conservative or Republican or Democrat. We used to meet somewhere down the middle and we could have a conversation without taking baseball bats and AK-47s and shooting ourselves in the street.
Because I don't agree with your narrative, but I'm all about tolerance.
Because you don't agree with my narrative, I'm going to hit you in the nose. You see, that's what ends up happening.
But I'm preaching tolerance. And the word of the day is nacho. She is still not your president.
Yeah.
Gosh,
I mean,
she's
really?
a loser.
Well, I think
move on.
Corrupt, lying,
you
traitor,
guys are going to
bitch.
probably disagree with me on this, but
God.
I think she's coming out with the wrong blame, and I think we should be looking at the system, our voting system, to make sure that it's credible.
You and I have had this conversation, yes.
I don't think it was Bernie. I don't think it was anybody else. I don't think she did a bad job. I think that the whole election was a fraud. And until this investigation is done, there's so many questions that are not answered.
Why do people, I'm going to toss this out because this follows right on the heels of this. Why are people such brand whores? Why does everybody have to have a brand? Why does everybody have to wear the branded clothes, the branded car, the branded lawnmower out in front, the branded?
Because they were told you got to have it.
We live in an age of branding that is consumed.
Yeah.
We want to be joining some groups. I mean, this is what it's all about. You see, it just harkens back to we've lost control of the family and the society. I mean, we're so tribalistic.
Yeah.
I
mean,
looking for a niche.
I don't fall for that. I always buy mutates, like irregulars, like this one sleeve's longer than the other.
Well,
arms are shorter than the other.
Mutates, buy mutates.
I mean, even this pseudoscience, transgenderism, this pseudoscience, man, what's this all about? Either you're a boy or you're a girl. You can't be mixed up that
You're
way.
You're offending me right now with saying that.
Well, there's one way to
I'm
tell.
But I don't identify with that.
But there's so many different ways that people think. For example, I have a friend that believes that if she pays more for something, it's better.
And then people will value her more because she's wearing the Prada and the Gucci and the Ferragamo and the Chanel and the Porsche and the blah, 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 blah.
I think it's just
even food.
Yeah.
You know? They like the generic stuff, but then now they got the super hygiene, da-da-da-da-da.
Hey, man, ketchup is ketchup.
I mean,
okay?
It's crazy.
Right?
And you know
bacon is bacon, man.
Unless it's smoked,
making
manicured.
bacon.
Well, it could be glazed.
I hear you, but you can go to
as long as
Gucci's
it's crispy, I don't
and
care.
spend $100 and walk out with a McDonald's-sized bag of stuff, or you can spend $100 at Trader Joe's and get something, and you can spend $100 at Walmart and get twice as much.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's crap made in China. Excuse me,
Right.
did I say that out loud?
That's okay.
But it's real.
Do you know how to tell a male chromosome from a female chromosome?
No, how?
You pull down their genes.
You know, I'm at the point right now. I'm at the point right now in the Roundup Wound Up show that I'm getting into a loss of words here because I think I might try that, especially if I'm looking for a transgender. Thank you very
Real quick
much.
on the heels of that, Jesse.
Yeah.
What's the difference between a hormone and a corpuscle?
You tell me.
I ain't never heard of corpuscle.
Oh. You and Dan, like,
I love you guys, man.
That
I'm sorry we
reminds
haven't
me-
gotten any callers. We're almost out of time. You guys rock. We see the light.
Who
We're
needs
just-
to call the stuff that we're coming up
That
with?
reminds me of
They're
the two
cracking
worm.
up.
I
that
think Chris
reminds me-
Brown out at the Lakers the other day. I think Chris Brown getting in a fight with some guy in the audience because he didn't want to sit. He sat for the national anthem at the Lakers game and sat there and laughed during the national. Chris Brown, yeah, Mr. Lovable, right? Chris Brown, ass. Anyhow.
He got in a fight?
Yeah, no, he turned around and started, a guy heckled him. Hey, man, how come you sat down and you laughing during our national anthem? He gets up, Chris Brown, you know, with all his entourage. I swear, it must have been like Black Lives Matter or the Crips. I don't know. But they start taking this guy on. And, you know, it's like, man, Texas, they can carry swords and guns. Damn it, so should we.
I love the captain or the president of the Cowboys, where if you don't stand up for the anthem, you got another job somewhere else.
Yeah, right on.
How
Even
can
if
you
you don't.
disrespect it and then laugh about
How
it?
can you make $10 million a year and disrespect it? That's the job that's paying
It
you
all
for
started
your
with
livelihood.
Kaepernick, whatever his name is.
It all started with how they're being raised at home
Yep.
today. 30 years ago, 40 years ago, we've gone wrong in our society, and that's the problem.
Morals, ethics,
I don't know how to
values,
solve it.
standards, God, the Bible, the flag, your honor.
Absolutely. Roundup, wound up, man. We're coming to the end of the show. Hey, 5 favorite comedians, stand-up comedians. David Shark Freilich.
Richard Pryor, George Carlin, Stephen Wright, Ralphie May, and Eddie Murphy.
All right. Dan the Man, 5 favorite stand-up comedians.
I pass.
Lee Michaels, 5 favorite stand-up, not comedic actors or improvisational actors.
Well, that's all of them. I mean, they all kind of trans.
Well,
What are
that's
your
okay.
5 favorite? I named
What are your
mine.
5
Yeah.
favorite?
Yeah.
I would have to go with Red Fox,
Nipsey Russell.
Nipsey.
Oh, I love Nipsey.
What's the guy that died recently?
Robin
Jerry
Williams.
Lewis?
No. He was like in Washington D.C. He just died.
Shelley Berman?
Shelley Berman?
No. The black comedian turned activist.
Oh.
Dick Gregory.
Dick Gregory.
Oh, the great Dick Gregory. Yeah.
Carlin, of course.
Yeah.
And I got to go with.
Foster Brooks. That's something.
Buddy
I
Hackett.
got to throw Cheeks and Chong in there.
Oh, Cheech and Chong.
yeah.
But they weren't really stand-up.
No, they
though.
didn't do stand-up.
But they got to be in there, man. I'm sorry.
No, he's stand-up. You got to give me one more stand-up. It doesn't have. It can be someone that's gone, someone that's new, someone that's fresh. Or,
What's his name?
Hackett.
Who? Buddy Hackett. Yeah.
Buddy Hackett. Oh, yeah.
or,
remember Mad
Dangerfield.
World? Buddy Hackett flying the plane, getting drunk with the Jim Backus.
Rodney Dangerfield.
Rodney Dangerfield. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's my 5 favorite. George Carlin. Okay. Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
Okay. Love those 2 guys. I think they were just some of the absolute best comedians ever. I loved early Steve Martin. When he was doing the wild and crazy thing,
Yeah.
The wild and crazy guy.
the Egyptian, right? I loved him. That I loved Robin Williams when he was just doing stand up.
Right.
Okay. I didn't dig the Mork and Mindy stuff. I think he's one of the very best dramatic actors that ever will see. But I loved him when he did the early stand-up, Robin Williams. I absolutely love Cat Williams. Cat Williams is so friggin' funny to me. You know, the little short guy?
Yeah.
He is so charismatic in his face. So we have George, Richard, Robin, And then Rodney Dangerfield. Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah.
Love the man with the one-liners.
You ever heard of Mitch Hedberg?
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
good.
Henny
Shecky
Youngman.
Green.
Yeah.
Shecky Green.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. Round up, wound up. Hey, another day gone by.
Yes.
A great show. David Sharp Freilich, what you got coming up for your career, man? What's happening?
Bro, I just got a job offer today in Kentucky. I didn't sign an NDNC, so I can't really talk about it. Just coming off another one with my buddy Errol Sack. Getting ready to go down south, do some relief effort with a couple buddies of mine and some trucks and chainsaws and help clear the road and do what we can.
Great.
A little late.
That's great,
than
man.
never. And my heart goes out to all the people that were affected by the last two hurricanes, Harvey and Irma. And I think we got another one brewing.
Yeah.
No, Jose's not coming this way because
It's not?
we build a wall.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man. That 1,000-foot wall. That's right.
I had a Mexican friend that was born with two penises, and he called the one on the left Jose. You know what he called the one on the right?
Right.
Hose B.
Dan the man, what are you doing, man?
I'm just contemplating my next move.
So, Lee Michaels, what you got coming up tomorrow?
I'll be on the air tomorrow at 10 a.m.
There's
right
Lee.
On the
There's
power
Lee.
of voices.com. If I don't die before then from a heart attack from these funny guys.
The Jesse T Show, the Brown Beauty's off duty next week. Round up, wound up, Wednesday, baby. See ya.
See ya.
Bye.
Never forget 9/11.